Developed rear deltoids are the key to aesthetic and sculpted shoulders, yet very few people are able to build this key area. These muscles play a role in expanding the overall width of your shoulders, providing you with that V-taper appearance often pursued by many in bodybuilding. If you don't incorporate these 3 strategies that we're going to cover in today's video, it will be impossible for you to develop this crucial area. Now before we jump into today's video, let's quickly go over how this area is made up so we better understand why these strategies are effective. While the other 2 heads of the deltoids function to elevate the arms, the rear deltoids retract the shoulder, moving the upper arms behind the torso, which is called shoulder extension, along with horizontal shoulder abduction, which is bringing your arms out like you're gonna give someone a hug. And these movements will directly work and stimulate that muscle. The rear deltoids also play a crucial role in maintaining proper posture and shoulder stability, so weakness in this area can lead to muscular imbalances, poor posture, and injuries. And now that we better understand how this area is made up, let's jump into strategy number 1, which is to integrate isolation training. And now I know this seems like a very obvious point, and that's because it is. So many people want broad shoulders, but they either fail to train this area or they just don't know how to properly train it. So let's go over a few exercises that you can integrate into your training routine to isolate the rear deltoids and lead to more growth. And the first exercise that we're going to discuss is the rear delt fly machine. All you do is go to the pec deck fly machine and sit down with your chest against the backrest. Then extend your arms as far as you can and you should feel your rear delts light up in no time. This exercise is especially good for beginners as it heavily reduces any mid-back involvement that could limit the work that the rear delts are performing. This is by far my favorite exercise on this list, and if you're not doing it yet, you need to start now. Now the next exercise that we're going to discuss can be a little more challenging, and that's going to be the dumbbell rear delt flies. And the reason I say it's a little more challenging is because many people perform it incorrectly. Before you perform this exercise, you want to hinge at the hips and maintain a neutral spine. Then keeping the arm straight, you're going to extend up and back. And the area where many people make the mistake is that a lot of movement comes from the scapulas, and they try and squeeze their shoulder blades together. This will activate more of the mid-back muscles, reducing the work that the rear delts are doing. Keeping my mid-back relaxed and only extending my shoulders will keep the load where we want it. Now, if you've tried this exercise and you continue to struggle with keeping the load in the rear delts, then this variation is for you. Instead of standing, you can lie face down on a bench in a 45-degree incline. This will heavily reduce the mid-back activation and is much more beginner friendly. Now we're gonna jump to strategy number 2, which is to optimize your training volume. Regardless of what muscle you're training, understanding the ideal volume for that muscle group is going to help achieve your fitness goals and lead to the most growth. And this is no different for the rear deltoids. There's an ideal number of sets per week that we need to perform if we want to get the most growth in that area. And before I just throw the number out there are 2 important definitions that we need to discuss first. The first of which is minimum effective volume. And this refers to the least amount of work you need to do to see some muscle growth. And the minimum effective volume for the rear deltoids is 6 sets per week. So if your goal is to do as little as possible and see very, very tiny growth in that area, then 6 sets per week should be your goal. Now I'm hoping that's not the case because most of you would not have clicked on this video if that were true. So let's discuss the next volume term, which is maximum adaptive volume. And this refers to the volume of work where the athlete achieves the greatest gains in muscle mass and performance. And the maximum adaptive volume for the rear deltoids is 16 to 22 sets per week. So if you perform 5 rear deltoid biasing exercises per week for 4 sets each, it will put you right in that range you should be shooting for. So if you optimize your training volume and frequency, it's not only going to be more effective, but it's going to be more time efficient as well. Keep these numbers in mind as you go into your next week of training. And before we jump into strategy number 3, if you're enjoying the video so far, be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more fitness videos and content just like this. And now for strategy number 3, it's going to be to implement rear delt training on your back days. One key reason to prioritize rear delt training on back day is the synergistic relationship between the 2. Meaning your rear deltoids work closely with the back as they perform similar movements. And since this is the case, you can kill 2 birds with 1 stone, and this will make hitting that 16 to 22 sets per week much easier. Many back exercises such as rows and pull-ups engage the rear deltoids to a certain extent. By specifically targeting the rear deltoids during back day workouts, individuals can enhance the overall development and growth of this area. This targeted approach not only contributes to a more symmetrical physique, but also improves functional strength and stability in the shoulder joint, which can help minimize shoulder injuries in the future. And another benefit is this leads to better energy distribution throughout the workout, meaning when you train 2 muscle groups that assist one another, you can optimize the energy that you're using, and this leads to a more efficient and effective workout. Now to list a few more back exercises that directly integrate the rear delts, you also have face pulls, dumbbell rows, and lat pull downs. And if you integrate all 3 strategies and you're consistent, I have no doubt that you're gonna see huge improvements in your rear delt size. And like we just discussed in strategy number 3, you wanna integrate rear delt training on your back days. And what you need to do next is check out this video here where I go over the 3 best back exercises that you need to start performing.